Guten Tag, mes amis, wie geht's? C'est moi, Dieter. Ich bin Dieter. So, Dieter's going to share with you what he thinks is really, really intelligent guitar practice. Now, 2 years ago, when this construction started, it was supposed to be 3 months, but they at least they did it right. They had independent engineers come. And they kept having to do more, whatever. And you know, a lot of people actually moved out of my building, and the rent. If I would have moved out and come back, because it's a good location, it's right downtown. The rent would have been more than double, so that I couldn't afford. But lots of older people stayed, and a lot of the young people, I guess, that had jobs, left. But before all this happened, I had a list, and this is what I suggest you do. That's not it there. But I had about 18 or 20 classical songs that I had down. I had down to almost where I could record them, and I bought a professional Tascam CD recorder that I just took out of the box. I haven't even used it. I bought that 2 years ago. And I had about 80 or 100 rock and pop songs I had nailed. I knew the lyrics and everything. That's more or less gone by the wayside, but you can't cry over spilt milk. But I suggest that that's what you do. You keep a list, that you learn a repertoire. I've heard people that know nothing about music criticize symphony players because, oh, they can't play anything without looking at the music. Well, duh. You know how complex that music is? You know, that's why solo performers work so hard on and practice and, you know, a certain piece, right? But you have to keep at it. Another true Dieter story, a friend of mine, I taught his son, and he used to be, I think, a vice president at CBS Records in New York, and he knows Eric Clapton and Stevie Nicks personally, and, you know, Keith Richards. And when the Stones this was going back 15 years, but the Stones used to rent a hangar at Mississauga, in Mississauga, Pearson Airport, and practice for a month to 6 weeks before they went on tour. And they liked coming to Toronto because people left them alone. Canadians aren't really autograph seekers and stuff like that. I suppose there are some. But anyway, you know, people. I wrote a song, a pretty good one, a couple of years ago, and I can't remember it. Like I'd have to find the words. So I mean, this stuff happens. So what I suggest is, now you won't follow this to the letter, but have a goal in mind, right? So I'm going to find that list when I tidy up, and I'm going to relearn those 18, 20 classical songs that I knew quite well. So that shouldn't be too hard. It might take a few months to get to the level where I was, and the same with the rock and pop songs. But you know, it has. Don't learn something because, well, you know, every time you say you say you play classical guitar, people go, play classical gas, right? You know, I'm not particularly fond of that song, right? So I never learned it. Like, make a list of songs that you like, and then from that list, take the ones that you think might be easier and learn those first. Right, and then set a thing for practice. Like, because I play bass and nylon string or classical stuff and pop and rock, I get into these phases where, okay, like maybe for a week or 3 days, I'll just play my electric guitars, and then for another 3 days or 2 days, I'll play my steel string, and then for another 3 or 4 days, I'll play my nylon string. And I haven't been getting to my bass because my bass crapped out, but I fixed my bass with some nice pickups, and I'll get back into playing that. So that's what I suggest you do, and you know, just tick it off. You know, I have a little sheet, you know, and if you don't, you know, if you're like me and you play more than one style, if you don't feel like playing that style that day, then just do it as long as you're doing something, right? And also don't overdo it. When I used to teach drawing, I had this one guy, and he just thought, more is better. And I looked at him, and I used to make people hand in their sketchbooks. And this guy went from being quite good to shitty. And I just said, like, I forget his name. This is a long time ago in Oakville. And I said, why are you just doing like 1,000 drawings? You're doing 1,000 bad drawings. I said, I would rather you did one good one, you know? You know? Or 10 half decent ones. You know, no, I said, it's like if you keep making the same mistake, and I think I told you before about that metal player who was really good, and I don't play metal, but I watched him, and I have that visual artist's eye, and I could see what he was doing wrong. So, I was surprised the guy stayed with me for a year. But what I'm getting at is decide what you want to do, and I encourage singing along, even if you think you don't have a good voice. I played in this band once, and the drummer wanted to sing, and he just he was. But I kept encouraging him, and he eventually became quite a good backup singer. It's the kind of thing, like physical things like your hands and your voice. If you don't use it, you will lose it. It's one of those sayings that actually is true. Not like that stupid one, hit the ground running. You hit the ground, you fall down, and you flatten out. Then you get up, and you probably have to crawl, and then get up and walk before you can start running, right? So all I'm trying to do is give you a bit of a pep talk for those of you who might have been in a situation like me. It's just a waste of energy for me to get upset about it. And I befriended the construction guys because they're decent guys. They just had a job to do, and it was done. And fortunately, it was done properly. So now, it wasn't 3 months. It was closer to, it's going on for 24, 25 months, right? But at least the jackhammering is gone. And I'm telling you, I think my hair went twice as white. I mean, I put on 40 pounds and watched Netflix for literally 16 months. Anyway, that's done. So, there always will be situations that, you might set, okay, I intend to, if you can't, don't beat yourself up about it. Do what you can, right? And so that's what my free lessons are about. I show you things. I do requests, so if you have a request, I appreciate those too, because sometimes I have my life to live, right? And sometimes, like last night, I thought about a bunch of good ideas, and then this morning I woke up and where are they? I did one of them. This was the other one. But I think that's really useful. Get a list of songs that you want to learn, and work on those. But don't just work on one. I once learned this quite complicated piece, and man, it was frustrating. But I persevered, and eventually I learned it, and I'm glad I did, because I just liked the way it sounded. So don't let the level of difficulty dissuade you, because there are always, if you take a complex song like the way the pros do it, you can probably break it down 4 or 5 simpler ways to do it, and start with the one that you can handle, and then go up that way. That's why I love my Hotmail name, and I'll never change it. I got it like 20 years ago or whatever. Randall the Handle. You can't beat that. Dita. Anyway, Vita Zane. Have a good day. I wanted to encourage some of you who might be in a similar situation to me, like if you've injured yourself, or there's just too much going on where you can't devote the time that you want. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's just, be in the present, and you'll be surprised. And one of the reasons I decided to keep these videos up and not take them down is I don't care if people laugh at me, because I think you will see, and I will see, a progression of my playing and vocalizing getting better, right? So, that's the teacher part of Dita, right? Haben Sie ein gutes Tag. No matter where you go, there you are. Wiedersehen, mes amis.